Welcome to the John Malone Show. Today is the 12th day of the Ukraine invasion by Russia. It's been a strange, it's been a very strange war. It's if you separate all the politics of what we think is going on with Russia or what's going on with Ukraine or the denazification of Ukraine, if you can put all that aside, and not because I'm not taking sides, in this incursion. In America, it's so hard for us to get any sense of what's really going on there because we're not there, and our American mainstream media is not doing the best at covering the story, and letting us see what's actually going on. We're told these people are going to stay and fight for their freedom, yet over 1.7 million people have fled the country. So are they staying to fight, for their freedom, or are they running away? And the men are forced to stay. So how free are you if you're being forced to stay to fight for your country? That's not freedom. On top of all that, I'm seeing all kinds of different stories on social media, where people think that this whole invasion is a hoax. Like there's absolutely nothing going on. I don't believe that that's the case. I can see with my own two eyes that people are dying. Russia's bombing, parts of Ukraine. They've taken over certain cities. I have no doubt in my mind about that. But propaganda is very strong, and it goes back a long way, in history of war. And one of the things that I've been noticing over the past couple of weeks, really the past few days, is all these photos people are posting on social media of people that are supposedly fighting for their country. And they just feel weird. Like these photos seem, very staged. I mean, they're propaganda photos. And I'm okay with that. If it's to boost morale for the country, that's what propaganda usually is. Most famously, one of ours from World War II was this image of Rosie the Riveter. Showing that, hey, the women are rolling up their sleeves and they're working at the plants to build tanks and guns and bullets. And, so this was great propaganda in the World War II to uplift the fighting men, in Germany and throughout the World War II. But what we're seeing on social media is this. This is very strange to me. I mean, the pouty lips and, like the winking eyes. And I mean, this girl's got a grenade strapped to her chest. I, does this seem weird to you? This is women in the Ukraine military. Now, this is from a parade photo. When I looked up some research, this was in practice for a parade. We see this all the time with Russia and China, where they have these big, parades to show off their military might. So this was a rehearsal. And I guess whenever they really do the parade, they'll be wearing their dress uniforms. But it's like here they are in heels. So just seems all this stuff coming out. And then this one is my favorite. This has been put out saying that this is the president's wife. Now I'm going to add a link in the comment section to the story about this, where it says that this is the president's wife and she's fighting for her country. This woman is not the president's wife. Does this feel as weird to you as it does to me, that we're not seeing any real kind of stories? We're not seeing any where they're showing these celebrities like they had Mrs. Ukraine, they had a photo of her in a ball gown and then one of her in military uniform. There's a famous boxer over there. There's like a world championship boxer, who could have left the country. Of all the stories that say this guy could have left, he's worth billions of dollars, but he and his brother are staying to fight for Ukraine. Where? And I know for safety, right, you can't telegraph all this information, but is this just for propaganda? Is this to boost the morale of the Ukrainians? That's fine, but you can't honestly tell me that these people are fighting in battle. no training, like the, just because he's a world championship boxer doesn't mean he's going to be Rocky or Rambo. So I don't understand this. A famous tennis player from Ukraine, like, came back home to fight for his country and do what? I don't understand this. We've had this happen in wars before, where celebrities were, fought for their country. A lot of them did it because they didn't have a choice, especially like World War II. A lot of those guys didn't have an option. Athletes in Korea and Vietnam that didn't have an option because we had the draft. And I understand that they instituted martial law, so this is essentially their draft, where everybody, as far as men that are, I think it's between 18 and 55 or 60, the age varies, depending on what news source you're listening to. But it's just the inconsistency of the reporting. And I'm going to cover this more later on in this week, just about some of the video clips that I'm seeing seem very strange. So is this propaganda, or is this real footage, or these real photos? And I've seen people saying like, "Oh, it's normal for women to put on makeup and this, that, and the other." But just look at these photos. Very they're posing. I don't know. It's hard to make sense of it. So this is why it's hard for people to want to get behind something 100% when you see this stuff, especially when the president of Ukraine has been feeding our government misinformation to try to get us involved in more in this battle. Saying, the nuclear plant that was attacked, and taken control over by Russia last week, that there was dangerous radiation levels, and it's just the hyperbole that has been involved in this, coming from the president of Ukraine. I get it. I know he wants us to be involved. He can't fight Russia by himself, but we can't. We just literally can't. We can't fight, if your neighbor is having an argument with a spouse and he asks you to get involved, you wouldn't. There's more involved to this. Or I'm just trying to, simplify this a little bit. But if as soon as we get involved, then we are literally involved with Russia. So it would be World War III. And I don't think that they would use nuclear weapons. They might over there, one or two, something small, but not an all-out global, annihilation of the human species. This is so hard to understand or wrap my brain around, just because of this kind of silly photos. So, like I said, if this is just to boost morale for your people, to get them to rally around, hey, our fellow Ukrainians are fighting with us. Okay. Promote it as that. I mean, it's kind of how Captain America got created. Was to help boost morale with the troops. Well, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, I'm seeing a lot of stuff going on social media where people they're taking this because it's hard to believe this, and then they're expanding on it and becoming more conspiratorial, saying, "Oh, well, if this is fake, well, then what else is fake? This whole war must be fake because we're not seeing, people shooting at each other." I don't know if we've been spoiled by news coverage, of wars in the past. Does everything have to be like a movie to us for it to be 100% clear? Like, does everything have to be Black Hawk Down? Like, if I'm not seeing it, it's not happening. Because we're just getting this weird, the videos, the photos that are coming in, especially from people in Ukraine that are using whatever app they're using, where it blurs out the sides of the screen, and all you get is this much of the video, but all of this is blurred out. Why are you doing that? Please stop that. I just it feels like you're hiding something from us. So this is, you know, I don't struggle that much to talk about certain things, but this is really hard to wrap my brain around it. So I can see why people, are running straight to social media going, it's fake. There's no war. There's nothing going on. Well, we know there is. Okay. I have no doubt in my mind. And I feel sad for the people in Ukraine. I really do. This is in my lifetime the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I can't imagine what they're going through. But I'm literally at a loss for words. That's rare for me because I just don't understand what this is about. I don't understand these photographs. Makes it hard for me to want to support anybody if there's this trickery or game playing going on. I I don't know. What are your thoughts? Leave a comment down below. This is very confusing to me. If you enjoy my content, please hit the subscribe button. I'll talk to you next time on the John Malone Show.